Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Thanks very much for joining this Get Out of Rap TV, Voice of the Contact Center, Your Voice. I think this is about the fifth one of these I've done. I'm loving them. If you are watching live, please do say hello in the comments and where you're watching from. And the first thing we need to talk about, no baseball cap today because the weather forecast for our contact centres, certainly in the UK, is hot, and it's going to be hot all week. It's going to be hotter next week. And you know anything about the British, we love to talk about the weather. We can't cope with heat, and heat is very different in the UK. So, are you still working from home? Are your teams working from home, or are you in air conditioned luxury? I'm very much working from home. Me and Hugo are in this little sweat box. I shouldn't complain. It's a lovely office. Let's hey Danny, how you doing? And yo Chris, thank you for joining live. What is the temperature right now where you guys are? And are your teams in air conditioned loveliness, or are they in hot living rooms and spare rooms? Hey up, Dan. And hello, Phil. What a motley collection we are today. So, um, Brucine, hello. In the Midlands and working from home. What's everyone's current temperature? Is it hot? I'll tell you where I am now, which is just near Oxford in the lovely town of Didcot. We are already up to about 25, 26 degrees. Danny, you're in the shed quarters. Lovely and cool. Okay. Lucky you. Now then, if you must have all, like me, one of the main things that happens in a call or contact center is everyone, if certainly if you're in a physical building, the air conditioning and the temperature of the contact center. Hello, I'd love to guess, but I can't. But you change your setting, or your settings don't show me who you are, but you can see it on LinkedIn if that makes sense. But I'm going to say Beverly. Let's have a guess. Anyway, as I was saying, you must have also had this where the people the agents and team members in your contact center, the number one thing that people used to talk to me about before anything else was the temperature, where you had someone aware from the aircon in the ceiling was boiling. The person sat underneath the aircon would sometimes wear a bobble hat. So protection of the temperature control at one contact center I worked in actually was locked. Peter Maid, hello. So that shows you the extent to which changing the temperature up and down was massive. So given we are in the middle or about to go into an even worse heat wave, I thought I would try and find some handy resources. Number one place that I found that was really helpful is HSE, the Health and Safety Executive. They talk about a heat stress assessment. And strangely enough, something that I think is one of those common folklores that follow you from school all the way to contact centres, is there is no temperature by which legally you can't work. It talks a lot about being reasonable, but there isn't a minimum or a maximum. Standard contact centre protocol. Complain about aircon, number one. 2, ask why we're not allowed to wear shorts. 3, ops manager runs to Asda to buy cornettos. So true. Lollies to soften the mandatory overtime. Very, very true. Hello, Phil. How you doing? Is it hot where you are? But come on, this is great. Complain about the aircon. Love it. Yes. So as I was saying, the Health and Safety Executive, it's a great place for resources, for sharing with your teams and helping them understand the do's and don'ts around working in the heat, especially when a lot of our workforce is at home. Where do people stand legally? hopefully you don't ever really need to get into these kind of conversations because you have a great relationship with your teams. But one of the things that ACAS said is employees working from home could have grounds to buy a fan if the heat is excessive. So you'd like to think people would have them anyway, but if they're in a small space, they've got a PC that's generating a lot of heat. Um, they can make a case for buying fans and blinds on company expense. Of course, measures to take. Window blinds and windows closed. Often people open them, but actually it says close them, draw the blinds, try and make the room as dark as possible. Plenty of water. Now we know, don't we, in our industry, people need to drink more water anyway because they're talking a lot. So plenty of water, fans, plenty of breaks and check-ins. And that last point I think is an important one because we talk about physically how it's affecting us, but heat of this level can affect people's mentality and how they interact with you. If you run teams, are they likely to be more short-tempered? Is it going to affect their work? And if you're in a leadership position, the thing I would say is to be gentle and mindful that the heat could potentially have an impact. I would definitely get my team members a fan if they ask for one. It's a small price to pay. Very, very true. And maybe you need to get one for Phil because he is boiling. Aircon is on full power. Oh, you've got aircon though. It's kind of like aircon envy. So I thought I'd start with the weather. Now let's go on to a regular feature, and please do. I'm kind of going to sources that I like, but please do tell me about events that you have seen that are coming up that you think it would be good to share with people. But these are the three I found, and you'll see one of them is my own podcast, so I'm kind of cheating. I need some help. So, number one, you may have seen our good friend and contact center legend Chris Rainsforth, his video earlier this week, talking about what they've got coming up at the forum. The one that kind of captured my fancy was a networking group on analytics, and I thought it was interesting that Chris kind of distinguished between desktop speech, data, kind of all falls into something that I think we're all, if not fascinated by, we're all massively aware of. It's a real kind of buzzword, and buzzwords become buzzwords, don't they? Because they are they're relevant and they're things that people talk about and are interested in. So the forum are running a networking group on analytics where they'll be sharing best practice and things to look out for, and that is on the 13th of July. I think I may have added in 11 a.m. incorrectly. Chris, maybe you can keep me honest on that one if you're still watching. I haven't bored you. The next one is a best practice visit. And I thought, I haven't written down all the details here, but it's Vodafone, it's in Stoke, and they have won, I think, 12 awards. And whilst awards shouldn't be the yardstick and the be all and end all, some of the things that they've won them for and the categories they're in looked fascinating. That is a member event. So if you're not a member of the CCMA, maybe look into it. It can be individual or corporate. That's the 21st of July. And probably most importantly, this Friday, it's always a Friday, is Get Out of Rap's next episode. And he's watching today, is my friend Dan, who is Dan Cohen, head of customer relationship center in Nespresso. I love how they call their contact center, which is a customer relationship center. And B, Dan's episode is a cracker. I'm not just, of course, I'm going to say that for all of them, but I really love this one just because of the stories that Dan shared. My cheeks hurt at the end of doing the recording because I was smiling and laughing so much. It's an absolute crack. It's out on Friday. If you haven't already, please do subscribe on your podcast platform and also on YouTube if you want to see me and Dan in all of our Technicolor HD glory. Here we go. Thanks, Chris. 1 p.m. for this event here at the forum, not 11. We've got, and thank you, Chris, the forum.social/events. Phil, where is our boy Rich's episode? Now, I was hoping to meet with Rich the other day. It is, we've done it. It's recorded. I'm just waiting for Rich to give me the thumbs up to release it into the world. It is a guest prerogative that I push them out, and sometimes there's timing and events that are being mentioned and things like that. But yeah, I had a great one with Rich, and that also is going to come out. Okay, what have we got? Vodafone Stoke is superb. Slightly biased view here, but personal recommendations, you can't go wrong, can you? Thought I was going to get a delivery then. It's always possible. Hey, David, going to dip into this online event at points over the next couple of days. cxnetwork.com, live contact centers. Oh, yeah, nice. I do like a lot. I do like one that's online that you can just dip into now and again. And I'm sorry, Dan, built up too much. Apologies for my dulcet tones in advance. Well, maybe people could give you like quality feedback. Do you know what I mean? Just on kind of pitch and tone. You've got a great voice. It's a great episode. I am, of course, biased. So now then, it's probably a chance for people to just take a breath. Me certainly. I'm sweating already. Here we go. Right, I use StreamYard, by the way, for this this functionality, and they have added in a recent update background music. So I'm going to try and get some news-related background music. So a government update for you here, and that is that more healthcare professionals have been given powers to certify fit notes. Are you in a position where you need to complete a fit note, or does your HR policy say an employee needs to complete a fit note to be able to come back to work? And I think with all of these things, for me, it's less about tying people up with bureaucracy. It's more about it makes you have a proper conversation with somebody about what support they might need, how are they doing. It gives you some structure around it and protects you as an employer and you as an employee. So this is from the 2nd of July, the law has changed and it now allows nurses, occupational therapists, pharmacists, and physiotherapists to certify and issue fit notes, reducing pressure on doctors, particularly GPs. This update will allow patients to see the most relevant healthcare professional and have a better conversation about work and health. And it changes. There was a previous update in April that allowed you to do it digitally, that you didn't necessarily need a signature. I imagine in your contact center, a lot of this might sit with team leaders and HR. So potentially an important update to help employees get access to healthcare professionals that can help them with a fit note. For all of this stuff, I will be sharing. So on the first one about weather, I'll share the health and safety executive link. I'll share this government link for all of this in the newsletter. So the newsletter will come out tomorrow. It'll have this and some other stuff in it. And that is the news. But again, I am going to open this up. Has anyone heard news in this last week about our industry that's made you kind of sit up and go, oh dear, wow, I didn't know that, or oh, that's interesting? Please do let me know either now in the comments or at any point. You can just contact me here. I've got to get better at this. contact me here. And that is also for shout outs. I've got a few people that want shout outs, but they're currently collecting photos. And I think this kind of hybrid working model makes it difficult. It might just have to be like all the squares on a Zoom. But if you've got teams or individuals that you want to shout out, or you're doing something particularly noteworthy or want to highlight an event of your own, I'm fully open to sharing on your behalf. So please do get involved. Just drop me an email or contact me on LinkedIn. See, I get a bit obsessed about potential deliveries. I'm right near a window in the road. So, as you know, or maybe you don't, one of the reasons I started the podcast was becoming tired about how our industry is perceived. I'd love to hear your views on that, and maybe your experiences on when you've told people you work in contact centers. What's the reaction? Often the media portrays us in a certain way, so I'm always very keen to hear about challenges to that, and I hoped in a small way the podcast and Get Out of Rap and sharing great guests, stories, shows what a great industry we're in. Now, on a much wider scale, we've got a comment here. Let's see. Record today. If you're free, MT, and we'll talk graphics. Oh, thank you very much, Phil. That's very nice of you. Thank you, buddy. Yes, on a much wider scale about portraying our industry in a better light. Lee Hopwood, who is the CEO of the CCMA, was on. Oh, look at this! I've cut out this guy. He is. I've forgotten his name. I think it's Neil something. He's the guy that's on Newsnight. He's the host of BBC Radio 4. It's cut out the 4. Sorry, I do this at the weekend. So yes, BBC Radio 4 have a show called The Bottom Line. It's available on BBC Sounds, and it's half an hour, and I really recommend listening. The premise, as you can see, the title was "Sorry, All Our Agents Are Busy." It was a lovely, lovely debate. It was conducted as debates should. There was no shouting or anything like that. It was the basic premise was. Is our industry stopping people? Are we purposefully going out of our way to make life difficult for our customers by forcing them to self-serve? Then, if they do want to, that doesn't work and they do want to speak to us, yeah, sorry, Danny, you're right. It's Evan Davis. So maybe we should do that. It's kind of like I'll hide people's faces with poorly thought out graphics, and you have to guess who it is. But yes, correct. 5 points. Danny's winning this episode so far, everybody. Yeah, so the premise was it's really difficult. Then when we do get through, we have a long way, and people are still using the pandemic. Now, on that last point, I really agree. We should, if you've got an IVR that's still referencing the pandemic, and bear with us, I don't think the public, and certainly as us as consumers, do we really think that's applicable now? Anyway, Lee was there along with a chap from the NHS and another chap who designs chatbots. And it was a really, really fascinating conversation. And Lee plus the other two guys did an excellent job in portraying our image in a positive and accurate light. One of the lines Lee used at the end were, the times are changing and we're at the forefront of that as an industry. But at the very, very center of what we do is a desire and an aim, and all of our processes are built around serving customers in the best possible way. But it was a fascinating 30 minutes. There are so many companies doing everything you just listed. Isn't that a shame as well? I mean, I get that we're all super busy. It's one of the things that certainly operationally, you never have time to breathe, but someone somewhere needs to be looking at things like the IVR scheduling. There's so many ways to do it better. if we're operating at a time still where someone says that IVR message that references either COVID or implies that COVID is a reason that they might have a long wait time, then should we still be using it? Albeit, another good point, Danny. 21,000 cases and 301 deaths yesterday. It's true, isn't it? And actually, I did have COVID again a couple of weeks ago. So I absolutely hear you. I'm not diminishing it at all. It is still here. I guess the question is it impacting our availability and our availability to provide a quicker service to customers in the same way that it was previously discussed? But good point. Thank you, Danny. Anyway, good listen. It's all linked. It's all linked. So I want to share next an interesting infographic. I made it and I didn't add my name to it. Should have added my name. Anyway, so what I've done is, and I should have referenced Contact Babel actually as well. So doesn't really matter that I haven't got my name in it. I'll do a proper one that's got this has come from Contact Babel. If you don't register, if you haven't already registered with them, absolutely register with them. Some of their content that they share is excellent. And what I wanted to show and also try and generate some conversation around is what onboarding do you have for new agents? Because what they have shown in a study on agent engagement is if you have 5 or more of these 8 activities or points baked into your new starter program, you you are 64% of contact centers in this survey with 5 or more of these had low attrition. That was 0 to 10% in the first 6 months for new starters, compared to 42% that had anywhere from 0 to 5. So if you had 5 or more, you had 64% of the respondees had low attrition. If you had 5 or less, it was down to 40%. So you're more likely to have higher attrition with the less of these you have. I think I probably made that overly complicated. It's simple. The more of these you have, the more likely you are to keep your agents in your contact center. And I wanted to really canvass your thoughts on this. So we've got pre-start familiarization visit, social events and team building, new starter survey and feedback, meets the senior team, senior leaders, executive team. There's one location for paperwork and policies. Every agent has a personalized development plan. There's a grad bay academy type staggered activity once they've had basic call handling, and that there's a buddying mentoring program. Do you have anything different to that? Given that we're in the middle of a crisis that is around attraction and retention of our frontline team members, it seems to me this is a really, really important subject. And by sharing what good looks like, hopefully we can all help our industry. So, and again, I'll be sharing this in my newsletter tomorrow. Let me just remove that because I can just go to some comments. Hey, Chris. Sorry. Oh, hello, Chris. I guessed wrong, but it's good to see you, hear from you. I'm also looking at how this way of working is impacting vulnerable people and those with disabilities. Very, very true. Okay. Chris, should be baked into the operating plan and dealt with as business as usual now, though. And Danny, I'm sorry I'm missing these. You're probably doing this all live and in the moment on LinkedIn. COVID and absence in general seems to be being used as a bit of a blanket reason for poor experience. But as Chris says, it's not an unknown now. We should be planning. And of course, Chris and the forum will know all about what good planning looks like and people being able to use previous experience to bake into future predictions and being in the moment and keeping everyone happy. But a good debate, guys. Thank you. We use a fantastic internal social platform across 1,000 FTE that we have across 2 cities. All new starters are added to this on the Friday before they start with us on the Monday. Oh, that's great. What a brilliant. So I guess they get a real idea of the flavour and the vibe and the culture of where you are, where they're about to join, and they kind of less intimidating and more something to look forward to. That's great, Phil. Let me just go back to this so you can see. Yeah, fascinating study. And like I say, credit to Contact Babel. It's a great source for, as long as you contribute to some of the surveys, everything there pretty much is free, and some great reports. Some of them very, very long, but well worth the effort of going through. And again, Phil, thank you. It allows them to see what kind of people they'll be working with, the type of recognition we encourage, etc., as well as access to our internal knowledge, which is part of it. Helps reduce no-shows. That's great. That's great. And you say you give them access the Friday before them coming on the Monday, right? Brilliant. That. Okay. Now he's watching, and I've mentioned him before. He's got the brain the size of Pluto. That's Peter. And I've just asked Peter, given my day job and our world is kind of quality at the moment. I've asked Peter for a quality tip to share. So directly from this lovely chap here, look at him, Peter Dunn of BPA Quality, the unicorn. He, as is his way, I said, Pete, can you just give me something that I could share on Get Out of Rap TV? And I said, one of the things we could do is video it, actually, because I am open to people kind of joining and coming in with me. You get bored of me and my shiny head, or head with a baseball cap on. Anyway, Pete has got a sore throat, so he sent me an email. Now, Pete doesn't do short emails. He sent me loads of tips, and I just chose the one that I liked for this one. So thank you, Pete, and it's a cracker. It is self-evaluations. Encouraging advisors to review their interactions against your evaluation standard is an important part of driving empowerment and engagement. Making sure there's purpose beyond merely listening to a call is key here. Yeah, it's no good just saying go and listen to a couple of your most recent calls without any kind of focus areas. You're just you're opening it up to too many variables, one of which is your team member just turns off because people don't like listening to their own voice. I know that more than anyone, I think, now these days, having to do the podcast, not having to do it, but making sure there's purpose beyond merely listening to a call is key here. Agreeing some key focus areas in regular coaching sessions while celebrating success builds a balanced view of their work and encourages honest reflection. Really well put, Pete. I couldn't agree more. Most people don't like listening back to their calls, but that discomfort is overcome when they can see and hear how the application of some key tools and techniques has improved their skill set as a result of coaching and self-development. And I think it's also important just to kind of call that out and say no one likes listening to their own voice. Don't let it put you off talking after doing the self-evaluation, because it's not as bad as you think. But so our quality tip of the day is doing self-evaluations. Thank you very much. Maybe a quick shout out to people to ask, do you do self-evaluations in your contact center? Is that part of your quality framework? Question. If you could hear something behind me then, let me just see if I can show you. Here you go. There he is. He's asleep. Not on his cool mat, which makes a change. But he was kind of snoring a bit then. I just want to give you, finally, as we come to the end of the half hour, an update on Gal versus Fat. So this is me, the aforementioned Peter, Chris, Dan Cohen, Marco, and we have a little WhatsApp group, and we're keeping ourselves up to date on our journey into weight loss, and we're owning it, and we're being very public with it. It's a little bit weird putting this slide out there because you're basically telling everybody you look like this graphic. So the aim is not to look like that. And I'm pleased to say, as you can see, we've lost 3 kilograms. We've lost 9 the week before. By all accounts, all of us had a bit of a bad or good weekend, depending on how you're looking at it. But it's really great to be part of a little group. We're 3 kilograms down. If you are watching this and want to join in, it doesn't need to be just men. If you want to become part of a helpful community, we're all in it together. Please just let me know. Hold on a minute. On the previous point, most people can see the benefit of watching game film to analyze and improve our performance. Call listening is our game film. I love that way of looking at it. Okay, here's the challenge. Marco Jetmir Nurakaj is a D silent. Try saying my last name. I completely mangled that. But I lived and worked in Turkey for 2 years, and I'm always willing to have a go. Marco Jetmir Nurakaj. Marco, you're gonna have to come on and put me straight. Oh dear. It was a great weekend. No good on my waistline, but it was a good weekend. We're trying to find the balance, aren't we? So if you want to be part of this group, you don't need to say it now, but we're all in it together, and we're trying to do our best. Give me a mark out of 10, Marco. How was that? Was it poor? I need feedback. I'm going to do my best. Okay, I've dipped over again. I'm very sorry. If you have enjoyed this, it's going to be on the YouTube channel later. I know you can watch it on LinkedIn. Please do subscribe and share it. Thank you very much for your involvement, everybody. I'd love for you to carry on getting engaged and sharing your own content. Oh dear, it's going to end. -2. Work to do there. It's not the first time I've seen really bad feedback about my performance. It can only get better, right? I'm going to work hard. Join me next week where it's going to be a new feature, me saying Marco's surname. I did work with a guy in Turkey very closely for 2 years, and he said to me on one night near the end of the 2 years, you still can't pronounce my name correctly. But he found it funny. So hopefully, we're going to carry on and we're going to do the same. Listen back to your attempt later, Martin, and self-evaluate. Very, very true. Very true. It's going to be... Oh, dear. Okay, so thank you all very much for listening, watching, and getting involved. And I will see you again, same time next week. Thanks, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. I need to do the old...